Next is we have the Web Quasi-Programming Languages and Applications program. These are tools that make web pages dynamic and interactive. Some are designed for lay users, while others are for experienced programmers. We have four examples: JavaScript, ASP, PHP, JSP. So, JavaScript is a widely used scripting language that enables interactive web content, while ASP, or the Active Server Pages, is a server side script engine for dynamically generated web pages. PHP, or the Hypertext Preprocessor, a server side scripting language designed for web development but also used as a general purpose programming language. Lastly, we have the JSP, or the Java Server Pages, a technology used for developing web pages that contain dynamic content based on Java. So we have the server side versus the client side coding. So server sides are programs run on the server, which sends documents to client side systems. Server side coding frees up servers from local tests, allowing them to handle more clients. So, server side programs run on the web server. When a user requests a web page, the server executes these programs, which then generates the content like HTML, CSS, JavaScripts that is sent to the client's user's web browser. This approach is beneficial for tasks that require access to database, file systems, or other server resources. It also allows the server to handle more clients by offloading some processing from the client. So, some of the examples are ASP, Active Server Pages, with a Microsoft technology for creating dynamic web pages, while largely superseded by ASP.NET. It was widely used. We also have the PHP Hypertext Processor, a very popular open source scripting language especially suited for web development. Many large websites and content management systems like WordPress are built with PHP. Lastly, we have the JSP, Java Server Pages, a technology that allows developers to create dynamic platform-independent web application using the Java programming languages. We also have further examples like Python, Ruby, Node.js. Next is we have the client side. Programs run on the client's computer, adding interactivity to websites. They are closer to general purpose programming languages than markup languages. So, client side programs are directly on the user's web browser. They are downloaded along with the web's page's contents and are executed by the browser. This allows for interactivity, dynamic content updates without requiring a full page reload, and improve user experience. Client side languages are closer to general purpose programming languages than simple markup languages like HTML. One of the best examples of this is the JavaScript, the dominant client side scripting language for the web. It enables features like interactive forms, animation, real time updates, and much more. We have further examples, concepts related to client side. We have the HTML, or the Hypertext Markup Language, CSS, cascading style sheets, and we have the front end framework libraries built on JavaScript. In summary, server side coding handles the behind the scene logic and data management, while client side coding focuses on the user interface and interactive directly in the browser. Modern web applications often utilize a combination of both to provide rich and efficient experiences. We have the scripting languages. These are coding systems used to create restricted programs, scripts that enhance web interactivity. They can run either on the server or client side. So server side, we have Perl, ASP, PHP, ColdFusion, and JSP for tasks like dynamic database access and user input handling. So server sides, the scripts execute on a web server before the web page is sent to the user's browser. They are responsible for generating dynamic content, interacting with databases, handling user input from from forms, managing sessions, and performing other tasks that require server resources. So we have a few examples. Perl, a highly versatile scripting language often used for system administration, network programming, and strictly for web development, especially with CGI. Next, we have the ASP, active server pages, Microsoft server-side scripting environment for generating dynamic web pages. It uses VBScript or JScript as its primary scripting language. Next, we have the PHP or the Hypertext Preprocessor, a very popular open source server side scripting language designed for web development. It's widely used for content management systems like WordPress, e commerce platform, and general web applications. We also have Cold Fusion, a commercial web application development platform and server side scripting language, CFML, known for its rapid application development capabilities. Lastly, we have the JSP or the Java Server Pages, a technology that allows developers to create dynamic web content using Java. JSP pages are translated into servlets, Java programs on the server. Other common server-side scripting examples, we have the Python with the Django or Flask frameworks. We have Ruby and Node.js. Another one from the scripting language is the server side, or rather than the client side. Includes JavaScript and VBScript used for actions like pop-ups and shopping cart calculations. These scripts are downloaded by the user's web browser along with the HTML and CSS of a web pages. They execute directly within the browser, allowing for interactive elements, dynamic content manipulation, form validation, animation, and other features that enhance the user's experience without needing to communicate back to the server for a very small change. So examples are JavaScript. This is the undisputed king of client-side web scripting. It is used to add interactivity, handle events, modify the document object model or the DOM of a page, communicate with servers as asynchronously, AJAX, and much more. Next is we have the VB script or the Visual Basic Script, a scripting language developed by Microsoft. It was primarily used in Internet Explorer for client-side scripting, but is now largely obsolete in web development due to lack of cross-browser support. Other common client-side examples, we have the React, Angular, Vue.js, we also have the jQuery. In conclusion, scripting languages provide the dynamic capabilities that transform static web pages into interactive and responsive web application with a choice between server-side and client-side depending on the specific functionality required. Common Gateway Interfaces or the CGIS, programs that allow communication between browsers and servers. The server runs a program, returns the output to the browser, enabling dynamic content like weather reports or database queries. Perl was the most common CGI language in the 1990s. So what it is? CGI is a standard protocol or interface that defines how a web server communicates with external programs, scripts, or executable files to generate dynamic web contents. It acts as a gateway between the web server and these external programs. So how does it work? First, the user requests. A user's web browser sends a request to the web server for a specific URL that points to a CGI program. Next, the server invokes CGI. The web server receives the request and recognizes it as a CGI program, executes the program. Third, data exchange. The server passes information from the client's request, like form data, URL parameters, HTTP headers, to the CGI program to environment variables and standard input. Next is the program execution. The CGI programs performs its tasks. This could involve accessing a database, for example, retrieving product information from an e-commerce site, or processing user input, for example, saving data from a contact form. It can be also in a form of generating dynamic content, for example, creating a personalized weather report. Lastly, program executions includes interacting with other resources. After that it will be output to server. The CGI program generates its output typically in the form of HTML, CSS, or other web content and sends it back to the web server via standard output. Lastly, server returns to browser. The web server then takes this input and sends it back to the user's browser, which renders the dynamic content. The purpose of CGIs is, is to enable web servers to deliver dynamic content that cannot be served by simply returning static HTML files. It allows web applications to be interactive and data driven. Yeah. All in all, even though direct CGI usage is less common in modern web development, understanding its principles is crucial for comprehending the evolution of server-side web programming and the need for more efficient alternatives. We have the client-side application tools. So we have few examples here, like the real one, player and Flash used to add multimedia feature, Adobe Acrobat Reader used to view PDF files. So in this side, we have in this section reference to the standalone or browser plugin applications that run on the user's computer to provide functionalities that native web browser historically lack or were not efficient at handling, particularly related to multimedia. So, in the early days of the web and even into the early 2000s, web browsers had limited capabilities for rich multimedia, advanced interactivity, or displaying specific document formats directly. To overcome this limitation, users often had to install separate helper applications or plugins that would integrate with their browser. These tools would handle content that the browser couldn't natively process. They run entirely on the client's machine. So, what is Real One Player? A Real One Player, formerly a Real Player, this was a popular multimedia player in the late 1990s and early 2000 for streaming audio and video content. Websites would often embedded real media files, and users needed the Real One Player plugin to view them directly in their browser. So we also have Flash or Adobe Flash Player, formerly the Macromedia Flash. This was arguably the most ubiquitous client-side application tool for a long time. Flash enables the creation of rich interactive content, animations, games, and video players on the web. Many websites, especially those with heavy multimedia or interactive elements, relied on Flash. Example of use of Flash are interactive menus, animated advertisement, Flash games, video players like early YouTube. An entire website built in Flash. Decline. How did Flash decline? Flash faced criticism for security vulnerabilities, performance issues, and its proprietary nature. With the rise of HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript, which often native browser supports for multimedia like video and audio tags, and animation, Flash dominance rapidly declined. Adobe officially ended support for Flash Player at the end of 2020. We also have Adobe Acrobat Reader. This is a free software application developed by Adobe Incorporation for viewing, printing, signing, and annotating PDF portable document format files. PDF is a widely used file format for presenting documents, including text formatting and images, and a matter independent of application software, hardware, and operating system. So when do we use the Adobe Acrobat Reader? When you click on a link to a PDF document on a website, if you had the Adobe Acrobat Reader plugin installed, the PDF would open directly within your browser window. Otherwise, it might download to your computer and you'd open it with a standalone Acrobat Reader application. The current status of Adobe Acrobat Reader, while the standalone application is still essential for many, modern browsers now have built-in PDF viewers, reducing the need for a separate plugin to simply view PDFs with the browsers. In summary, client-side application tools were critical for extending the capabilities of web browsers beyond basic HTML and text, particularly for multimedia and rich interactive experiences. Before native browser technologies evolved to handle these functionalities more effectively, most of the tools listed, particularly Flash, have been superseded by open web standards. And that would conclude or presentation about the Module 6 coding systems for communication via the web. I hope you listen and enjoy. Thank